Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and a guilty priest.
Brothers and sisters, we are here to celebrate those which we have loved and those which we have lost. At any point in time, one of our loved ones may be taken from us too soon. And here, we are going to remember them all. It may be your friend, your mother, your grandmother. It may be that one really nice old lady who lived next door and would always bake you cookies when the holidays came around. But one night you weren't really paying attention and you hit her with your car, but you didn't didn't stop driving. You kept going and you never looked back. You don't know if she's okay or not. She could be alive, she could be fine. Maybe it was a squirrel, maybe you missaw it, but you kept driving. You drove miles and miles all the way to Ohio, where you became a priest and signed yourself over to the Lord. But you still hear her at night and you smell her cookies every Christmas. Amen.
When it comes to bad movies, it seems the vast majority of them are scary. But the cream of the crop will always be the classic Troll 2. Now, don't be fooled by the title, because this movie is in no way a sequel. Now, yes, this movie was released a few years after the movie Troll. Does it have anything to do with the first movie? No! You wanna know why? Because there's no trolls in this movie. There isn't a single troll in the movie Troll 2. I think some studio executives just saw how popular Troll 1 was, that they decided to take this movie about goblins and just slap a big old 2 on it and expected people to go and see it. And it ended with just travesty. Almost every bad movie fan has seen this movie. Even Eddie Burback has a glorious sweater of the movie's poster. But for those of you who haven't seen this, I now introduce you to the beautiful world of Troll 2. The movie begins with this very long prologue about this guy named Peter traveling through the woods.
Then he began to hear strange noises coming from the depths of the forest.
As Peter is sneaking through the trees, he starts being chased down by a pack of hideous goblins. Not trolls, goblins. There are no trolls in the movie Troll 2. This needs to be said now. Am I misdirecting you? Am I saying there's no trolls in this and then later a troll appears? No, it's just goblins.
Poor Peter remained on the ground, unconscious, for a long time. Finally, when he opened his eyes, he saw her in front of him.
A goblin?
Those are the best freckles I have ever seen on any human being. They're just so lifelike. This was a bad idea. I don't know how to get any of this off. So after running for his life from hideous creatures, our boy Peter becomes so overcome with horniness when he sees this girl that he forgets he was about to die.
She caressed him and offered him something to eat and drink. The strange concoction she offered him was delicious.
Don't drink soup from random strangers, just no matter how hot their freckles are.
He began to feel ill, very ill. He was sweating chlorophyll green.
Green?
You see this color? You see it? Avoid this color at all costs. Whatever you do, avoid the color green. Because according to this movie, chlorophyll green is the color of the goblins. And whatever you do, you must avoid it. Anyways, Grandpa Seth finished telling his story and explains to his grandson that goblins are no fairy tale, but real, living creatures.
That's exactly what happened, with a voracity that has no equal on Earth.
What are you doing still up, Josh?
Grandpa Seth was telling me to stop.
So Grandpa Seth, he's just not real? What?
Grandpa Seth has been gone for more than 6 months now. You were at the funeral, and I know it was very difficult for you. It was also very difficult for your father, and for Holly, and for me, his daughter.
I love that she had to clarify that she was his daughter, as if, like, Joshua didn't already know that.
Grandpa Seth has remained in all our hearts, but you must banish him from your mind.
Yeah, kid. Never think about your dead grandpa ever again. You're not allowed! The family establishes they're about to go on vacation, a weird home swap vacation. Basically, a family from a small town spends the week in their house, and they spend a week in a place called Nilbog.
Elliot, what kind of idiotic joke is this?
This is Holly's boyfriend, Elliot, the best character in the movie. And I know every single time I pick out a favorite, they die. So I'm just going to cross my fingers on this one.
Oh!
Release your instincts in the bathroom.
Are you nuts? You trying to turn me into a homo?
Okay, maybe he's not the best character.
If my father discovers you here, he'd cut off your little nuts and eat them. He can't stand you.
And you?
I like you.
What? Elliot convinces Holly to let him join in on the vacation, but only if he promises not to hang out with the boys. Which, by the way, is just very toxic to tell your significant other, I don't like your friends, you can't hang out with them ever or I'll break up with you. Elliot deserves better. Our family finally arrives in Nilbog to meet with the family they will be swapping houses with, and let's just say they're not quite normal. When our family heads inside the house, they find a delicious gourmet meal prepared for them all. But just before everyone starts eating, Grandpa Seth appears to Joshua once again.
Grandpa?
Don't let them eat, Joshua. For the love of God, don't let them eat. If they eat, they'll come to the same end as Peter in the story.
But how can I stop them?
Now, Joshua's faced with a dilemma. His family seems dead set on eating this food. So what can he do? He can tell everybody to stop eating, he could flip the table, or he could just have his dead grandpa sorta freeze time. And I say sorta because all of the actors are still moving because they're just trying to stay still, but you can see them shaking.
I must do it. I must do it.
He pisses on the food. Time was completely frozen. He could have pulled a Quicksilver moment and saved everybody, but no. His instinct was to pee on the food.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
What are you going to do to me, Daddy?
It's time to play a game called What Is He Going to Do to Me, Daddy? Will he A. hit Joshua with his belt, B. piss on Joshua so that he knows what it feels like, or C. something that makes less sense than option B?
What are you going to do to me, Daddy?
Tighten my belt by one loop so I don't feel hunger pains. And your sister and mother will have to do likewise.
If you guess C, then you've seen this movie before. Now, during all of this, where is Elliot? I thought he was coming on vacation, right? Where is he? He's with the boys! What an absolute Chad. He brought them on vacation with him because he wanted to share the fun.
I'm sick of this. Where are all the single, unattached, horny girls, Elliot?
Don't be a pain in the neck, Arnold. We just got here. Come
I'm going outside for a breath of fresh air.
One of the boys takes a step outside to smoke and sees an attractive woman in the woods. Rather than ask her why she's covered in green goo, his first instinct is to just start running after her. Because that's a good idea.
Please stop!
He finally tackles the girl, and lo and behold, the goblins are not far behind. The two escape to a local church and find a weird garden inside. There they find a strange old woman who claims to know all the secrets of the town. The two let their guard down and she tricks them into eating green.
That's right, green.
The girl turns into goop, and lo and behold, the goblins arrive at their queen's garden.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me! Oh my god!
Iconic. At the same time, Joshua and his dad go into town to buy some milk. That is until Joshua's father becomes compelled to sit down and read a book titled Vegetable Cookbook. And the movie makes sure that you know what the title of this book is, because there's just a very, very close zoom in of it.
Grandpa! Grandpa Sam! Are you there? Mailbog! It's Goblin spelled backwards!
Genius. Just genius. It's a better plot twist than Marvel could have ever offered.
Boner.
Joshua continues to investigate, only to find all of the town's citizens having a private meeting. Turns out everyone in town is a goblin just disguised as a human, and they bring in tourists so that they can eat them one by one. Joshua is strapped down to a chair as the citizens of Nilbog surround him and try to force-feed him some green. Joshua's dad finally finishes reading Vegetables by George R.R. Martin and comes to save his son.
Stop! It was nice meeting all of you. My son and I must be leaving now.
Holly, what a surprise.
Holly pulls up to the RV to have a conversation with Elliot and decks him in the face. Elliot is literally in an abusive relationship and all of his friends are probably going to die, yet Holly is the one we're supposed to feel sympathy towards. A few moments later, the dad arrives and brings Holly home.
Listen, Mr. Waits, we need to have a serious talk.
If you want to have a serious talk, you'll have to forget about your friends and come to our house. Otherwise, you forget about Holly.
All right, I'm coming.
Hey, wait a minute, Elliot. You're gonna leave me here alone?
Yes!
When the family gets back home, they find the entire town has set up a surprise buffet for all of them to eat. Joshua does everything in his power to prevent the family from eating any chlorophyll green, but they refuse to listen. Finally, Joshua runs back to his room to find Grandpa Seth somehow back from the dead and asks him for some advice.
We must move quickly to put out the fire.
What fire?
Guess.
What a nice grandpa. The kid burns the preacher to death, which turns the entire town into their true forms.
What happened?
And now it's time for the weirdest scene in this entire movie, where the last of Elliot's friends is just watching TV.
Do you like it? Shall we eat it together?
He finds the Queen of the Goblins outside, who seems to be seductively holding a piece of corn. I don't know what's going on in the scene, but just for some reason, there's just a solid 30 seconds of nothing but just silence and corn. That is until they start doing this.
couldn't help but notice you. You want to get out of here?
Quesadilla?
No, I'm alright, thanks. Just ate a little bit ago, but I was thinking, maybe you and I could,
Taco?
I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. No, but I was thinking, you're very attractive.
Nacho Bel Grande, no tomatoes, because I know how much you don't like cherry tomatoes.
How did you know that?
Do you want to have sex? The family finds themselves having to fend off an army of goblins long enough for Joshua to speak to Grandpa Seth. Afterwards, Joshua wakes up in the Queen's garden.
Grandpa Seth, are you here?
The kid does a bit of exploring until he and Grandpa Seth discover a just large rock.
Here it is. The Stonehenge magic stone. The goblin's magic power.
The rock is apparently the source of all the Queen's power, and all Joshua has to do is touch it. So he touches it. It's very anticlimactic. The goblins just kind of cower in the corner as he just touches the rock. Even when the rest of the family shows up, they don't fight back. They just let them also touch the rock. Yeah, that's it. The rock gets touched and they die. The family goes back home and Joshua spends some time finally saying goodbye to his grandpa up in his room. Once he comes to peace with losing his grandfather, Joshua goes downstairs into the kitchen to find...
Eating my mom.
And that's how the movie ends. Joshua's mom dies, and the final shot is a weird close-up on her green goop boob. All of these videos tend to end on a bad note because all of these people don't know how to make satisfying ends to their movies. But that being said, my favorite character didn't die for once. He's just stuck in an abusive relationship instead. So that's a plus.